And welcome to the AEW Dynamite preview. We are the Dudley Boys of What Culture. I'm Adam Wilbourn, joined by Michael Hamflett and Michael Sidgwick, here to look ahead to tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube. We do daily wrestling podcasts where we not only review AEW Dynamite, but also AEW Collision, Raw, SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. Pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a roundup of the week, complete with a bloody good quiz, of course, on WrestleCulture. As I said, though, joined by Hamflett and Sidgwick to look ahead to Dynamite tonight and all the fallout from Double or Nothing.
Indeed. Momentum is with AEW. It really feels like something is happening. The resurgence is on. I know I'm echoing talking points, but whatever. Length gate struck AEW again. There's always
what people are saying.
There's always something.
There's always a gate. There is always a gate.
There's always a gate, post or pre-AEW, whether it's morale or whatever. Ultimately, I'm in complete agreement. I said it, done a like completely re-record the review, which you can still listen to, of course, if you somehow missed it. Really good audio, that. Really good audio, I thought. You can still listen to that. Yeah, ultimately, it's always like, I've got the feeling. I'm going to put the pay-per-view on. Can I have the feeling back in match 2, please? Can I please have the feeling back in match 2? Maybe this time, because it's become a talking point again, so much so that, according to Brian Alvarez, there are people within AEW who feel the exact same way. And maybe now that it is sort of been echoed within AEW itself. Look, it's the listening company, and that has been the recurring theme of 2025 so far. The crime spree is kind of over and done with. Mm-hmm. Common assault happens on every wrestling show, and it always will and always has. So I guess that's fine. Even I'm not much of a pedantic knobhead about that. But the bleach is gone, the kidnappings, all the rest of it, gone.
He's not so much a cat burglar. He's just a show stealer.
Indeed. Very good. Various other improvements have been made. We've got the focused upon cast that's not rotating anywhere near as much. The right wrestlers are getting pushed in the right roles. They're already going to unify seemingly the continental and international titles. Yet another complaint is being sort of taken on board, responded to, and potentially resolved. It's very much the year of, let's quietly stop doing the things that are really annoying people and dragging the product down. Now that people in AEW are not pressuring or pushing Tony, but like basically saying they're not wrong, maybe it is time to do something about that. And that's really the only complaint about AEW Double or Nothing, and seemingly everything else, other than the depth of this tag team division, other than the trios division, like even the hottest periods of the best companies ever have something.
Yeah.
Like, as an example off the top of my head, Matt Hardy in 2021 AEW. But that seems to be the only bit of stuff to wrap up ahead of the preview of tonight's show.
Ricochet quote tweeted somebody that had aggregated this news, I think, or the story that somebody within AEW agrees on this time. And he just said, it was like a broad sweeping statement, like, if we fix this, there'd be something else to come. And that's... That's true. He's right. But it's also a little bit wrestler bubbly, in my opinion, because there's a different... And I understand from the wrestler's point of view, because to them, maybe we're all just identical idiots on the internet, whereas there's different brands of idiots on the internet, the good kinds and the bad kinds. Different needs. Some people need cash, and that's why they grift. Some people want to do a good job, and that's why you watch us. Like, the point could get lost, I think, because a wrestler goes, it's empty criticism. You can't be listening to that, and I understand that. But I think this has always been constructive from the right people.
Too many people say it?
Yeah, I think the timing issue and the various different...
It's not even necessarily a number of matches, as me and Andy were talking about in the news, is it? You two were both saying it wasn't the number of matches necessarily, it was the bloat of the matches.
I'd have a 3.5. I'd have 3 personally. I would have a 3-hour pay-per-view, specifically now that, because the old model was we'll do 4 a year and we'll give you a quarterly WrestleMania-sized deal.
Yeah.
That's not the case anymore.
People are complaining about the Triple H 5 matches. So the open goal is there for what a lot of people are saying.
Just do 7.
Yeah, like
do 7. Like it's one of those where because it's like that. What's that tweet? There's a tweet, right? And there's always a tweet about everything. There's a tweet where someone like does an impression of a reply guy, and it's, "Hi, sorry about your tweet. That's 180 characters long. Have you considered every other point that you didn't have the space to make so that it doesn't affect me, the main character of the universe?" So everyone's got their own deal. My general philosophy on this, because I feel like there's nothing really much to preview on this show. So
there's one match advertised.
I got another gate after this that relates.
All right,
to
okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Second gate.
So we'll do like Gatecast.
Yes.
Indeed. So on this gate, though, because we're like, there's one gate at a time, everyone knows that.
We've always said that. You go gate by gate.
My general feeling on this is 22-minute openers, please go away. 22-minute second matches, please go away. But then, I haven't considered the main character of the universe, which is every individual member of it.
The world.
You know what I mean? There's always, that's the problem with the internet. It's why we should bloody blow it up. The problem is that people will point rightfully, and I did this myself on the review too. What about Danielson, Kingston, Revolution? Mm-hmm. It was amazing. You know what was better? Genuinely, do you want to know what was better than Bryan Danielson versus Eddie Kingston at Revolution 2024? As amazing as it was, the very first Eddie Kingston, Bryan Danielson match in AEW anyway, on Rampage, 14 minutes. There's so many matches that go 22 that you could do in 14 and lose nothing and gain a lot.
Yeah.
I haven't finished, by the way, but carry on.
Sorry, I was going to ask, how long did Brett and Owen go?
I think it's 18.
18, because I was... Yeah.
It's time to play the game! Time to play the game! Ha ha ha!
How long did Brett and Owen go at WrestleMania 10? Widely considered one of the best pay-per-view openers ever. Because I was thinking, you said 18, which is going to make me sound like I'm a dirty copycat, and I promise you I'm not. I was like, I think that comes in about like 19, 15 or something.
Yeah.
And under 20, obviously, they weren't clock watching.
Yeah.
But they told the perfect story.
It was a proper novelty at the time as well.
Yeah.
To get a great match that happens to be the opener.
It wasn't a long list of best openers ever.
No.
In the 90s, was it?
Certainly not.
You would always go default to Brett and Owen.
I'm going to go 18 minutes and 36 seconds.
That feels like something you've checked.
I haven't.
Have you not? I'll say 1910.
I can tell you. By the way, just because my brain, everything falls out of it. You said best openers ever. Someone tweeted us or replied to our comment section on YouTube yesterday with regards to best match ever whenever that returns, suggesting that you do punk Jeff Hardy after talking about it yesterday.
Yeah.
I can tell you, WrestleMania 10, Owen Hart versus Bret Hart, the opener, was the longest match on the card, even more than the ladder match between Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels. And it went 20 minutes and 21 seconds.
I mean, I love that was longer than the ladder match as well.
Yeah, that's great.
It used to be better.
Used to be better.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 matches on that, not including the dark match, 9-match card that were sub 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Bring up SummerSlam 2002 wiki. My personal best opener ever. Not the very best match that happened to go first on a pay-per-view. There's a difference. But the very best match that opened the show, set the tone, and thought, I cannot wait for more wrestling. I could have lived in that match for another 5 minutes. I'm kind of glad I didn't, because I now have the energy and the enthusiasm to watch more of this. And honestly, SummerSlam 2002 is one of those fabled, and maybe this is one of those monopoly-brained takes, right? Where it was a terrible year for TV, a terrible year for the business, but SummerSlam 2002 has this fabled legacy. It might be a WWE thing. It is monopoly-brained. It's this maybe one of those 2-hour 40 shows, or certainly maxed out at 3 hours, where you look at some of those undercard matches, you watch them, that maybe it hasn't aged particularly well, but it's just fondly remembered as this great show, and I have such an ardent insistence that opener and the flow and the sequencing has so much more to do with it, because I'm not being funny. In terms of sheer match quality, drama, violence, whatever, there's probably at least 20 pay-per-views that AEW have put on that are strictly better that one gets fondly remembered because it stands out. It's this perfectly sequenced show. Kurt Angle, Rey Mysterio. I'm going to go 9 minutes 26.
I'll go under 10, but I think Sidge has almost got it bang on there, so I'll go 8:50.
Just for I can tell you on SummerSlam 2002, there was only one match that went over 20 minutes. Do you want to take a wild guess at one of the wrestlers?
It was Triple H versus Shawn Michaels.
It was really good.
Yeah. But it deserved it, eh?
Yeah.
Shawn taught his best friend out of work.
Yeah.
What did you say, Sidge? 9:26?
9:26.
You are 7 seconds away.
It's
9:19.
It is absolutely unbelievable, and I wish... Sorry, go on.
No, SummerSlam 2002 is... It's only the show the Beatles could have been. It's Invasion and WrestleMania 19 that people will like hold aloft because Invasion was the first crack at something that looked like a WCW versus WWE show. And WrestleMania 19, this, in my opinion, massively overrated show that people look at because the list of wrestlers is... That's everybody.
Yeah.
That is everyone. That's
I remember buying the DVD, having noped the back end of the Invasion storyline. I just noped it. And then I took some time off and just went to HMV and thought I'll get back into this wrestling thing. What?
everybody. Hogan.
Sean's back.
Austin, Rock, Sean,
Hogan.
Triple H, Vince, like everybody. I think it's an overrated show. SummerSlam 2002 is the perfect ideal of both because you're right. If you look on that undercard, I think it's got The Undertaker and Test.
Yeah.
I think it's got like
Jericho Flair?
Yes. Yeah.
Second match on the card.
RVD
Benoit
Guerrero.
RVD?
Or was it not Eddie Guerrero RVD?
It was RVD Benoit.
Yeah.
Guerrero's in a match.
Against
Edge.
Correct.
Edge.
Yeah. Like it's strong.
It's like really...
Tag title match.
Tag title match was...
So you've got the first three matches you've nailed. Kurt, Ray, obviously. Flair, Jericho. Edge, Guerrero.
Christian and Regal.
Christian and...
Lance Storm.
Yeah. Versus...
Raw. Booker T and Goldust.
Yep.
Like, again, it's like... So what I'm saying, like, and then obviously you got Brock going over The Rock as this...
Oh my God.
Successful transcendent moment when The Rock was the most selfless headliner ever.
Yeah.
And like,
why it's best.
And that's the one that feels like the Invasion era card done right.
Yeah.
Because it really does feel like an overlapping of the two worlds. And 2002, when people look back on it fondly, they're wrong. But it is because it's weird. It's like, what are they doing there?
It's just
and
a
SummerSlam gets it right one for one night.
really well sequenced card where like people frankly know their rules.
Yeah.
On the undercard. And you don't get, you see what Eddie
and Edge.
written down. They had a better match on SmackDown, for example. They had some great singles.
Good series.
Yeah.
Paul Heyman was feeling himself with that
Yeah.
SmackDown run.
But there was their role on the show to keep it ticking over. Like these punchy matches that leave you wanting a little bit more. Oh, and that's good. You know why? Because we've got Morphe in the main event. I want more punchy AEW matches on pay-per-view. Like it's beyond time. And if people in AEW are saying it, maybe they want to get in and get out and try and like not make the crowd almost resent them. Maybe there's, Tony Khan has always been a little bit feckless as a booker. Maybe there are people just off the top of my head, maybe Dax Howard, like saying, I need my 20 minutes, bro. Because that apparently automatically equals a great match. Fans are smarter and smarter and will always get smarter. People don't think, oh, God, 20 minutes, that was great. The cynical objective of going 20 minutes, going in second, is I want to try and have match of the night.
Yeah.
It's not really how it should work. If anything, like I didn't see a single person say anything other about FTR versus Garcia and McGuinness. Every single take was identical, which should tell you, really, we should start making some changes here. Every single take there was some really good stuff in there. It went too long. There was some really good stuff in there. Sadly, it went too long. I can't think of a single reviewer who does it in good faith and wants AEW to succeed. It isn't just trying to, do it in bad faith, which I saw this creep up again in the discourse when people criticized AEW. It's allowed, guys. Not a single person was like, oh, worst match ever. It was always just like, good, Mr. Peak. Now, we're still on this gate. Sorry, I know you've got
it's
another
okay.
gate to get to.
There's always time to open a second gate.
There's always time to open a second
And as I'm
gate.
always saying, it's not all about length. So, carry on.
Indeed. Is that...
Oh,
yeah, he's talking about his cock.
sorry, guys.
There are obviously exceptions. There are matches that have happened to gone third and gone 20 minutes that ruled. But generally, I think just a bit more discipline would go such a long way. There are exceptions. Like, if you are putting Bryan Danielson and Will Ospreay at Dynasty 2024, when you know there's no real better time to do it than now, because Danielson is gone for ages by August if he's ever coming back. His neck really is thrashed. He's at the absolute pinnacle of his powers. He's going against Will Ospreay. I mean, you're probably going to give that 30 minutes, right? You're in the date, and it was this absolutely immortal, one of the best matches ever. So, of course, there are exceptions. My general philosophy on this would be, and in terms of the production of AEW, the answer to so many, like, self-created problems, really. And they're not necessarily, that problems is such a weird word because they're not, but they kind of are at the same time, you know, is to borrow from peak era New Japan Pro Wrestling. Nothing ever lasts forever. Ghetto's run on top might be the longest a booker was ever great. Might be the longest a booker was ever great. Bookers can, in fact, recapture form. We saw it with Vince. Some people, not me, say Paul Levesque did it after peak NXT, black and gold NXT, constant melodrama, rubbish. And then people thought he rethought it, emphasized cinema. Tony Khan might be doing it as we speak, right? But the best unbroken run of pure, this is amazing, and it keeps getting better and better and better year on year, artistic heights, commercial revenue. Like, you can actually use the business argument and the critical acclaim argument. The longest run of greatness a booker has ever embarked upon, probably Ghetto in the 2010s for New Japan Pro Wrestling, right? His approach to sequencing a card, he didn't want to do a match of the year masquerading as an opener. He did it once, I think, at a Wrestle Kingdom, but by and large, the pattern was
Osprey Ibushi.
Osprey Ibushi, yeah. But then again,
that had its own purpose, though, didn't it?
Yeah, and everything else afterwards was so punchy that they never lost the crowd. That dip, that lull that I talk about constantly when we are previewing or reviewing an AEW show, right? I'm always saying, like, because people say it's a problem that British YouTubers who have to wake up early bitch about why we're still talking about it. The awake Americans live in the building, excited for the wrestling action that they've paid for, who love AEW enough to part with their cash, experience a lull where they get tired out in the show and it comes through on the TV and we're all sharing it together. So don't deny that. It's a pathetic argument. It really pisses me off. Yes, I'm a miserable British bastard, but a bitter-looking, bean-eating bastard. What was that, Benno?
Yeah.
Oh, when Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné, debuted at Wrestle Kingdom. This is a total aside. Benno, our friend from Grapple, tweeted something like, "Oh, the finisher looks rubbish." Oh, I don't want to put words in his mouth.
I recall him saying something like, and it was a good take. Can we all admit that was a bit crap?
Yeah,
because everybody initially was like rooting for it.
I remember, I remember the excitement,
and we're all there watching. I think we might watch this together.
We watched it because I walked in and went, "How was Mercedes' debut?" And you went,
"I'm not allowed to say it on Twitter."
Gave it like an hour or something. Can we all admit that was a bit crap? It was something along those lines. Just wanted to be the one. Just can we have a proper chat about this? And then
the stands,
Jesus Christ,
the stands invaded the mentions. One of whom called him, "You bitter bean-eating bastard." The one time, like, alliteration going on 3 times. "You bitter bean-eating bastard." Absolutely incredible patter. And where was I?
I think one of his grapple, I think it might have been either JP or Gareth, then like redid his thing and like changed it to Beano.
It's good stuff, that. Really good stuff. But on Prime New Japan, why would you not borrow? Why would you not draw from the most critically acclaimed and by 2010's Puro standards, biggest drawing run ever? It went on for ages, right? It's because they did something right and it kept working, so they kept doing it. So the way I would do it was, and the way Ghetto did it by and large, as I said, and they never had that lull that I've just talked about. That happens on every single bar non AEW pay-per-view show this lull exists. How you get rid of the lull, how Ghetto got rid of that lull, was incrementally longer matches. There's probably the odd exception, but again, by and large, if you run through the wiki and the results or Cage Match or Pro Fight DB or whatever, and you look from match 1 down to the main event, like 8 minutes, IWGP Junior tag titles, 10 minutes, some kind of the rest of the warring factions who don't have a singles match do a 10-minute 6-man, and it's just bang, 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 finish. Like, God, I want some more of this. 8 minutes, 10, 10, 12. Then you get your first sort of like singles match, 14.
Junior heavyweight title.
Junior heavyweight title.
Like fast and energetic. And,
16.
Yeah.
And then, and this goes back to when you start doing the Osprey Danielson, or Osprey comes in against Takeshita Revolution. I mean, you're going to give him 20 minutes. Of course you are. It's Will Ospreay, one of the best big match workers of all time. Some say the best, you know. The semi-main and the main take as long as you want, because what you've got now is there's no lull. People have not had a single match that it's dragged or missed its peak, and they are just in this wonderful state of, I'm sat here buzzing because every single match has reached its peak perfectly. Even the ones that weren't amazing, didn't deliberately by design strive to be amazing, just got people on the card, told a story, 8 minutes, you're out. Like, they're still awake, and it's like, I'm having a great time. The action here has been great, and I'm getting to the main event now. You should feel like, I'm so buzzed for this main event, and then you make the most noise. Like, this incrementally longer sequencing worked when New Japan was at its peak for years and years and years and years and years. AEW has never had a pay-per-view that I can recall from the top of my head where it's been every single match got a louder reaction than the last one. And that should be the aim. Otherwise, why do certain matches exist? They're just getting, like, buried. You resent the wrestlers. You want the wrestlers to be promoted in the wrestling promotion. It's not, they're not called wrestling recensions. they're not. They're called wrestling promotions. So that is, like, basically, I've spent 20 minutes on this, and I've tried to account for, semi-mains longer. Every now and then, if you've got, like, a match that's out of nowhere got really heated up as a blood feud.
And you know what they are. Like, we know it as fans, so they know it as bookers. Yeah. They know it as wrestlers. You know, like, it's
that one deserves 20.
Stern conversations with the wrestlers that don't, when we all know the ones that do.
Yeah.
Nobody was disputed a minute. Like, I thought it went too long, but I wouldn't have disputed seeing the match time on the board when I saw, like, Hangman, Page, and Osprey. I watched it play out, and I was like, I think you could have shaved 5, maybe 8. But I wouldn't have disputed getting the time to begin with.
They deserved it. I mean, it's them too, the story, the talent warrants it, you know.
You know.
Anarchy in the Arena is another, like, that course that needs 30 minutes.
Yeah,
it's 2 minutes, like, it flew by. You know, there are obvious rule-proving exceptions and individual case-by-case matches, you know. But broadly speaking, the TLDR on Gate 1, before we get to Gate 2, the TLDR, Gate 1, my perspective, is rip off New Japan. That's people wanted a more accessible, Americanized New Japan from AEW originally. Like, it's nice, but it's kind of hard to keep track of all the Road 2 shows and all the rest of it. Can we have it weekly on television where I can press a button, please? I know you could on New Japan World, but generally they wanted a more accessible flavor of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Start reflecting that on the pay-per-view. 6 years, better late than never. 6 years in.
Gate 2.
Gate 2, right. So this might be a slightly different gate. This might be what we would typically consider in the industry as a debate gate.
Oh, the gate.
The gate. Yeah, some gates are different to other gates. We've always said that. So I was going to...
Everyone says it.
I saw a gate this morning, and I was going to post some thoughts, and I didn't. And then as I was on the train to work, my thoughts changed, and I was like, I'm glad I didn't post the first time. So I've already, I mentioned this to Sidgwick this morning, and it was a report that came through from Sean Rossap, who I want to point out before we get onto this gate, was doing his job very well, as he typically does, right? Because it's not on him, and typically when a story comes out that people don't like, somehow it lands with the journalist that broke the story. No. It's like, well, they can't win. You're the only journalist.
Welcome to Reddit.
Yeah. The rest of the journalists always seem to take L's, and you're the only one that gets like 100% dubs all the time. Sean Rossap reported, and this is like backstage stuff, and we love it, and we talk about it, and it forms part of our analysis, that...
If you pretend you don't, what you're doing here.
Yes. That both Will Ospreay and Hangman Page were campaigning to lose at Double or Nothing, right? Now, to Sidge's point about like how you haven't gone on and made every single point that anyone could think of in the universe, like that story breaks.
Pancakes, waffles.
Yeah. And then Ibu of WrestlePro, a friend of ours, tweet like, what the hell happened to this business? And what he was getting at, that he then had to explain over several other posts in an attempt to pacify every single other member of the world.
In the nursery.
And I read What the Hell Happened to This Business. That was how I saw the story. It was his... Yeah. Crash of X. The X crash. Right? I got it from What the Hell Happened to This Business, but not everybody's got the same brain, right? So like I knew exactly what he was getting at because I saw the quote tweet of his before I saw the story. This is very X. If you're not even on X, you might not even care about this, but we are getting to the gate. And ultimately, the gate was here. Hangman Page and Will Osprey, neither of them want to win.
Sidge, can you get to the gate? People have been asking me this for years.
It's just how it goes sometimes. You've got to give a bit of like background before you get to the gate. You've got to deliver the whole field. And then you can leave the field through the gate. And that's what I'm about to do. There was a lot.
Looking forward to the Gate American Bash, by the way.
Indeed,
when NXT drops that,
that's a gate of a different kind, a different brand, different needs. We're a slopcast.
Gate the table. That's what we need to do.
Indeed. His frustration that I had before I changed my mind was...
Don't change your mind. Open the Brave Gate.
The gates can swing both ways, to be fair. So that makes
my gate swung both ways in this case. His initial take, which I completely agreed with, was why has somebody leaked out? Sean Ross Sapp has either done some good investigative journalism about some backstage gossip, or a wrestler has outright told Sean Ross Sapp and said, you can report this if you want. And Sean Ross Sapp is doing his job, so not on him. Why is this information out? It has been 3 days since the best built AEW pay-per-view, spend money on this match and the consequences of it, the emulation of real sport. Why has a wrestler deemed this information or somebody backstage worthy of leaking now? Close the leaks is the constant problem, right? But
shut the gate.
Shut the gate. Thank you. Somebody had to say it. Another brave gate. Shut the gate. But, leaks would easily get through. Gates by design.
The sheep, that's the whole point. They stay in the field if you shut the gate. The leak sheep.
The leak sheep are going to keep getting out unless you close the gate.
Exactly. Right. And then farmer Tony
because
don't
have because yes,
extrapolate this again and again and again.
Tony Farm, right? Because yesterday on the Double or Nothing review, which like Sidgwick I would recommend, I think it's great audio or video, I praised to the hilt the booking for showing us Will Osprey an obvious winner.
Yeah.
Allowing us to speculate on Darby Allin as a possible other winner, which distracts us from Hangman Page. In the aftermath, we all go, how didn't we see that all along? Yeah. It's the Cowboy show in Dallas, and this is...
There wasn't some master plan, but it felt like it.
Yeah. He was talking about redemption, and we were thinking the redemption was the victory over Osprey, but in fact it is saving the AEW title because he needs to go all the way back to 20... No, there wasn't a master plan, it turns out, and that leak has picked away at that, and I hate that because I was so in, and I'm going to get back in because Hangman Page is good enough to get me there. But in the moment, in this little flashpoint when Ibu tweeted, what the hell happened to this business? I was like, I completely agree. I need to know that in 5 years. When I go, I wouldn't have thought that.
Yeah.
What if, right, better example, because we're in it right now, it's been 4 years since. If today, Hangman Page came out and just said, do you know at the time, like me and Kenny were kind of like knocking it together week by week. I'd be like, no way. I thought you were telling like the most elegant of like 3-4 year stories.
And they were.
And they were. But good for you for hiding that. And it was like, I'd be like, that's fun. If he drops that in 2020, I'll kind of just figuring this out week by week as we go. Like, what? No. Like, I've come on this journey with you. Like, it is such a weird, nuanced reality of the post-kayfabe world. And that was how the gate swung both ways. Because the more I sat with this and I went and read the replies, some of which were to Ibu and were horrible, some of which was Sean Ross Sapp's initial reporting, it was a bunch of people. I'm going to guess.
They were a barrel of laughs as well.
Oh, those reply guys were sure fun. That were younger than me, I'm going to guess, or are just like new to the business, or really like anime based on the avatars. We're all saying, like, so maybe the point I'm getting at is that maybe wrestling isn't their only like nerd hobby / retreat or whatever. Like,
yeah, well, it's a gateway, isn't it? The whole, this side of.
You're the best in the business, mate. Like,
is he?
We're saying like,
he is.
I just think the words with gate.
We're replying. Oh, this is lovely. This like. These two work colleagues loved each other so much and like wanted to and everyone this is that thing about everybody having the different opinions. And I'm going like, hang on, whoever's leaked this, are they now smarter to the work than idiot me could ever be? Because back in the day, like on the forum, you wanted to know who's being the biggest dickhead. That was it. It's all maybe it's all flipped. Maybe like who's Sean?
Got some thoughts on this.
Who's Sean trodden on? That's what I want to know. Like, he's treading on more people. His business is Shark Tank. Like that was kind of what we were raised on. And maybe all of that has changed, and like they know, the wrestlers know that, and they know the gallery they're playing to, and that getting out shines a nicer light on AEW and its locker room and the harmony that maybe didn't exist for a while. And the harmony contributes to the bigger picture of AEW's rise again in 2025. And maybe that leak was actually smart. Like, you see how the gate can swing here? Mm-hmm. It might not play to my sensibilities, or I'm guessing Ebu's. I don't want to speak for him, but from those tweets, and then he's done a long sort of follow-up to try and explain what he was trying to get at. Because my thing was, right, that is definitely like picked away at the start. I want to just live in the fiction. They had me last Wednesday living in the world. We compared it, and I think we both agreed it was maybe marginally better than the 2025 edition of Punk versus Cody. But one of the reasons why that is so good is because you absolutely believe, come the day, those two men want that spot. They can come up with the cool lines, they can have all the comparisons, but you also know they mean it.
Yeah.
They both want to be the guy, capital T, capital G. And if one of them just came out and said, it was some great work, wasn't it, on Raw? Like, I'll put Cody over when the time comes, because I'll put Punk over. Like, I wanted to buy the fight.
Yeah.
And but you see what I mean? Like, the responses
different ways of looking at it.
The idea of creating harmony, maybe the leak was smart. Yeah. And maybe it put me in mind, sorry, Sidge, it put me in mind of 12 months ago when Will Osprey fought Swerve Strickland. And I think I did the news with Murray. And I think we disagreed on the video, because I think he just saw it as, it's like good business. And I was like, I think I'm sort of suspicious of how this has all come through the channels. And it was like Osprey had said, like, I was sick of people saying that Swerve Strickland was just keeping the belt warm for me. Like, I wanted to work with him. Or it got reported that Will Osprey wanted to work with Swerve Strickland because he wanted those conversations to go away. And now Swerve Strickland's beating him. It
was for the best, that.
It was. But I don't want to talk about it in those terms. I want to think of the fiction of Will Ospreay falling short and Swerve winning. And it was within 3 days of the pay-per-view. It was like, that's been taken away from me now a little bit. But maybe, again, those exact same fans were going, that's nice. This is a locker room I want to imagine. And maybe that's how the fan base sensibility has changed. And I think it's an interesting game. It's a dual swinging game.
I've got many thoughts. Some of them conflict on this gate. And I will do that right now. On one level, I think every modern wrestling fan who's kind of over the chaos, there's some, contrarian nihilists who like all the chaos. And to a degree, I quite like the gossip and stuff.
Yeah.
I think broadly speaking, if you're not completely dead inside, if you're a wrestling fan, you want to imagine an gigantic mahogany-bound tome of great booking patterns and the next 2 years of your life, basically, that you're going to watch, because you think, all right, okay, well, page 400, bit boring, bit table setting, but I know there's page 800, and where you just want to know that there's a direction and an outline and a plan, and that gives you reassurance, because especially in recent years in AEW, that trust has kind of been eroded, and you want it. So I understand this, it's week to week. That's not good. So I understand that point of it. I think it might behoove certain wrestlers in this day and age, in this specific promotion, for this information to get out. Because in a post-CM Punk AEW, people might want to hear that it's a pretty collaborative, giving process, and no one's going to... I know CM Punk said he never wanted the title. Of course he did. You know what I mean? I think AEW has an audience that is very sensitive. Very, very sensitive. And they are a little bit shaken by what CM Punk did. Tony Khan completely enabled it, by the way, but that's by the by, and I'm not talking about that again. And I'm thinking you're onto something here with this playing to a different, new, sensitive audience and creating this really collaborative, portraying this image of AEW's backstage and production and creative meetings. It's just really giving collaborative process, getting that out there. I don't know. For me, I couldn't care less about this, really, in terms of suspension of disbelief, or do you want people that want it? It's like, I can't picture a reality when the amount of thought Hangman Page puts into his work, his character, every little detail, that he might not want the run at the belt, but he wants to do some really great stuff and he cares about it. Will Ospreay doesn't do all those flights, he doesn't do that much damage to his neck. those series of backdrop suplexes, by the way, I thought were wonderful in that match. I forgot to mention it on the review, where it's like, again, love going for the same attack pattern at times. Anyway, I know they both want it, but they want to tell stories rather than being the top guy. So it's
also a different route to being the top guy, isn't it? Nobody's ever not said, like AW, these exact fans have always said Hangman Page is the main character, with or without this belt. So they're mindful of that too.
So I didn't see this leak, which again, I could probably do without not knowing. But at the same time, it doesn't really bother me because, one, when they tell me they want to win the belt again, I'll believe them because those promos were unbelievable on the road to this show. And two, I know they want it, but it's like I just can't look at the detail that they put into their work, the physical commitment they put into the work, that they don't want to do really great stuff, and winning the belt eventually is a part of that. But maybe these people are really smart and think the chase is so much more.
Like, I think this match is quite unique as well.
Well, go on.
Because I think, both parties, I think if you had like a path of like, like the meme or whatever of like, there's two weird castles or whatever, and it's like win/lose at Double or Nothing. Both of them, I'm really excited to talk about Will in a second, but like both of them, it wasn't like, oh, you've lost. Don't know, work with Drilistico or whatever next. Like,
clear direction.
Both of them had like, something for not just All In, but Forbidden Door into the summer and what have you. So it wasn't like, it was all or nothing and it wasn't at the same time, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, it does. It does. If I'm a wrestler, I want to chase as long as possible, personally. He's the best bit in it. Yeah. And like, I don't know if wrestling fans are necessarily fickle, because I don't necessarily like that argument, but at the same time, I understand where people are coming from when they throw it out there. Like, so often a wrestler, as soon as they win the belt, there should be a series finale, there should be an off-season, because the first crop of challengers are invariably there to lose, and then that's not dramatic.
It's so hard to be a retaining champion.
It is.
Even like Cody.
Especially a babyface.
Cody wins the title, and people are like, oh, AJ Styles at Backlash, is it?
It's like, well, it kind of has to be.
Yes, yeah.
It's very tricky to book that middle ground between the San Martino run and what Vince Russo did to Nitro. Mm-hmm. What is the middle ground? How can you possibly make the first title defense unpredictable? It's no wonder. I mean, I hate them both. But it's no wonder Vince went, let's give them Kane. Give them Kane for April or May, because none of this matters. What matters is the title change. What's the next title change? Give them Kane in the meantime. A ridiculous way to go about it, like punishing the audience by making them sit through Kane singles matches. But you get it, because ultimately people are going to complain regardless.
We had Lance Archer and Nyla Rose for a long time. We love both of those guys, but like...
Is this learning tree stuff as well, not Chris Jericho? Is this learning tree stuff? Because this always makes me think of when we would do conversations about like what is each wrestler's... Every great wrestler's one flaw, and yours on Danielson's was always that he never wanted the win enough.
Never wanted the winner.
And like, are they taken from that maybe and be like, there are many ways to skin the cat in the business. Yeah. And like, that was Danielson's, but it was often across the bear, wasn't it? As much as it was
in the internet age, winning the title and staying on top is such a difficult task. It's kind of like that admin thing of, I'll answer that email on Monday instead of Friday, and then I'll worry about it at the weekend. It's that thing of, if I'm a pro wrestling babyface who's over and I've thought of a way to delay the chase, prolong the chase, I'm doing it. I am absolutely doing it. Osprey's New Japan coded, that match that he was fated to win, he hasn't what now? It again, borrow from New Japan. It was such an amazing device that almost time and time again, Wrestle Kingdom 11, Wrestle Kingdom 12, Okada, like he was king. He did multiple IWG champion, but he was not the king of the ace of the Tokyo Dome. Yeah. Like, you've always got to give yourself more story. And now, when story is king and all the rest of it, and it gets increasingly parasocial, you want your fans to live and die with you. You don't want to just reach that instant gratification. So I can understand why both Hangman and Osprey were like, you can have it for a bit if you want. I want to play in this world a bit more.
Yeah. The first note I made I wrote a second note. I wrote Double or Nothing Fallout, obviously. But my second note I made for this...
Titlegate.
Second note I made for this podcast was, what now for Will Ospreay? Because it was the first thing you said on the pod, wasn't it? I was like, okay, so he's going to Texas.
I've got a few thoughts on this.
Well, we're going to get sick of hearing this word very, very soon. WWE are going to cliche this to death. But quarterback, Cody Rhodes, like... kind of coined it a bit, I think, in like maybe backstage they would have said that about John Cena. And it was like he was taking his term and giving it to the public. But he was saying like he wanted to be the quarterback for the second time around against Roman. And now he is, and now he hasn't got the belt. And I think he's going to lean on the word more until he gets the belt back. Like that,
and then it's going to be stupendous, you know.
Andy, it's going to be a reminder to people that he's the quarterback. It's not for everyone, is it? And it's funny that you say that about like.
I think they both want it, just not yet.
Yeah.
If I'm Page, I'm probably scarred.
I know,
Genuinely?
Like there was a lot about when he cuts the promos about like the 2 years and he's referring to Swerve breaking into his house. It's like there's some other stuff there, isn't there, that you're able to draw from in order to make this as believable as it is. And yeah, it's not, that spot is not for everybody. Even the ones that want it and will lay their careers on the line get it, and it ruins them. And Shawn Michaels loses his smile, and Steve Austin delays surgery that ultimately expedites the end of his career, and whatever. There's a gazillion examples of the ones that not couldn't handle the spot, but were face to face with the realities of it. And I do think that you mentioned about Osprey and New Japan. Like I was kind of transposing Cody Rhodes onto Will Ospreay going into this show, and afterwards with the pose he did and the way they shot that with Hangman Page.
Incidentally, he's not the first person to ever look like he lost Cody Rhodes.
No, but
first person.
The exact
Jesus
frame
Christ.
was a nice like for like. Like like if it was an accident, it was a good accident because
They didn't do it on purpose.
I would mimic that shot. Like that's exactly what I thought of when I saw that on his knees with the winner in the background on the ramp amidst all the confetti and
it was like it was New Japan-esque.
There probably was a New Japan one that they nicked it from. Yeah, that's not like a dub in the WWE column. That was the shot I thought of recent time.
Yes.
But I continue to transpose Cody onto Will Ospreay because I think he's
the gravity of defeat was a proper New Japan thing. And
yes.
I think that informed this desire for clean losses are great. Actually,
I'm literally on about the visual.
Yeah, okay.
With Ospreay, what I mean is Cody losing was like the all round best. Like Sami Zayn lost for this.
Yeah.
The all round best has just lost. What now?
Drew lost for this. I mean, I don't care as much as Sammy, but
all of them lost for this, and he's lost. And Ospreay feels like that all-round best in that same way. But it's interesting because just as many people will have just as many reasonable arguments as to why Hangman Page was still the all-round best. It was never Ospreay. It's Hangman Page. And that's why this match was so captivating and so intriguing, I guess, and why people bought into the finish of it. And I wonder with Ospreay, because Sidge will have some more, I would imagine, probably nailed on thoughts about who he's going to work. But I wonder if Ospreay quite knew that, because I don't think I was the only one transposing that onto Ospreay. I think for a long time now. I think it was ultimately when he became weekly and he became so brilliant at it almost overnight. A lot of people a switch flipped, because it did for me. It was like, I know what he offers AEW, but what else you got? He's got everything.
Promos.
He's got everything, right? We also know that he could play a heel if he needed to, but it's like Cody. You don't need to go there yet because there is still so much road ahead as the company's flag-waving babyface. I think he will be fine, and I think matches will always keep him fine. But I don't think AEW should take this lightly, because you couldn't with Cody Rhodes for 12 months. You couldn't take that lightly. And Cody had to do the job of staying over and staying the guy. Ospreay will do that with his matches. But I would like to think AEW will have that tone, will have that mahogany tone for his next 12 months, or however long it is before he wins the belt. Because you cannot piss about with characters that are right in that precipice. Yeah, you have to keep them there.
He's got to do side quests like Cody did almost.
Yeah,
now.
And good ones.
I was completely baffled by the finish, because it just seemed a dynasty. Maybe it was the plan to do, right, well, the Bucks have just screwed Swerve out of the title. Hangman Page is going to fail again. Kind of his character. He does a good job to stay over. He's done an incredible job of staying over. So the idea would be Page can never be completely whole again till he forgives Swerve, aligns with Swerve, common enemies in the Young Bucks, and then they both completely draw a line in the sand, and they are out of their own universe that they've created for themselves. This really violent universe, So that happens at All In. Ospreay beats Marks. Death Rider's gone. Omega Okada happens. That's completely blown up now. I don't know if Anarchy in the Arena was just we should have the baby faces win this. What a wonderful... I think that's why I loved it so much. I just felt like this feel-good, our baby faces rule, and they're winners as well. Loved it so much. I couldn't tell if it was just, the plans have changed. Obviously, look at the main event. Baby faces win. Give a bit about... I don't know. But I don't know if they were setting up Kenny and Swerve. Go with me. I know he's going to work with Carter as well. Double duty Kenny Omega. Because they made a big thing of, isn't it cool to see Kenny and Swerve on the same team?
It was awesome.
And it was great. Done some more of that because they can work the Bucks in a tag. And this, like, again, a justified 30-minute match. It's all in. That would require Kenny to do double duty. So maybe Osprey and Swerve, or maybe the Young Bucks Swerve thing. It's like, right, we're done. You screwed out the title. You beat them in the most violent match. You went deliberately 50-50 on TV with the trading roll-ups. You've definitively violently put away Nick Jackson, whoever it was. That's over and done with. Swerve moves on to something else. But what? Will Ospreay has... I mean, this is such a compelling question, and what makes the result and the finish so great. It can't be... I still expect it to linger on a little bit on TV, but it can't be any member of the Callis family.
Oh, God, no.
It can't be. It can't be. He could do a bit of a losing streak gimmick because but then Darby's already beaten once.
I've got an idea for this.
Okay.
It's popped into my head. And feel free to tell me I'm crap, yeah.
Give us a second.
Yeah.
I'm trying to work through my... So Darby versus Ospreay is a big match of like...
We're talking 4 All-In specifically.
Yeah, All-In
the All-In
specifically.
opponent, yeah.
Darby Ospreay, because that match was unreal on that Dynamite, and then they're both kind of... That'd be really dramatic of like, well, who would be next after Hangman? If Hangman loses, it's like a de facto #1 contenders match, you know? Who hasn't he wrestled yet? Who could come out of nowhere? I really don't know, so I want to hear yours.
Well, yeah, this is the thing. I was trying to think that, and I was like, I don't know who that name is.
What makes the finish so great?
So I just thought, what other direction could you go in for like this, like you say, this lowest step without like having him lose to just some random that you just like, well, that doesn't work because it's Will Ospreay. And I landed, unsurprisingly for me, on Maxwell Jacob Friedman.
Just thinking
I know he's worked him. I know he's literally worked him at last year's All In.
Isn't it? To take him out while he's weak.
This is a different dynamic. This is Will Ospreay, and this works as well for MJF, especially as he's now part of the Hurt Syndicate. Will Ospreay was effectively one step away from fighting for the world title, and I know he's about to go through the Owen to do that, but effectively he's lost the semi-final, right? In Max's twisted head, beat that guy equals title shot, basically.
Kicking him while he's down as well.
I've not to go through the Owen, but I've basically just won a second Owen final if I beat Will Ospreay, and I can be like, oh, there you go, title shot. Plus, I've got the Hurt Syndicate behind me, and I just can't help them retain the tag titles. No, they didn't need it.
Yeah, just to look at.
Yeah,
Lashley versus Ospreay.
Yeah, the build to that, you can have him just kill him, and in the match, I mean, to quote a famous Australian, you've got no f***ing mates, Will.
You got no f***ing mates. Love that.
So he just sets him on them, and then he beats him, and it's like, Will's lost again.
New Japan.
Then you can do something at Forbidden Door with Will getting some mates for potentially.
Yeah,
or whatever.
This could follow the theme of AEW becoming increasingly more New Japan coded with this sort of like the babyface fall story. Hopefully they do it on the friggin' pay-per-view match times. Like they're increasingly rematching a lot in AEW, and if it's not too often, I'm all in favor of it because you can build stories, you can go back to it. It's about like that was a big standing complaint of AEW. Like Tony Khan was petrified at times to rematch stuff or to revisit stuff, and then eventually you got so much TV where it's like, this is so dull. I understand why you're doing it, but you're really doing too good of a job of keeping your top stars apart. Like Hangman Page and MJF didn't interact for 3 or 4 years. You've got to kind of get them all in the same path, not too often, but so that
get them out of the zones.
Yeah, get them out of the zones.
Yeah,
get them out the goddamn zones. Zones and gates.
I had a bit of fantasy booking a few weeks ago. I think you were off actually, but we were talking about it was when we were a bit more down on Anarchy in the Arena, but we were mapping out.
Not this year.
Not this. No, but like the idea of like, here comes
the right,
okay,
spell.
And we kind of mapped out that same route for all the key players, and now that's all changed because of Hangman Page versus John Moxley. But the pitch I had at the time that I still think he could do, but now it's just got a different purpose. I think post Anarchy in the Arena, which now works better because the babyfaces have won actually. One more Death Riders heavy heat revenge attack. We're not locked in an ambulance anymore. Generic slate of babyfaces. So we want one more battle. July's Blood and Guts, All In, so you got to get the Blood and Guts sooner. do that in the next couple of weeks.
There might not be one.
There might not be one.
I was thinking this.
There might not be one.
I think they would have announced it.
They could get away without doing one, but if they were going to do one,
All right, at least told you there's going to be a blood and guts. Yeah.
They could get away without doing one, but like now it'd be like, and it's going to be next week, bombshell. Like this huge walk up tickets because they've just found out they're getting blood and guts.
They have said big summer.
Yeah,
big summer.
Like they were.
What if
really,
it's like next week, blood and guts?
I'd
get fooled into thinking it's
good.
good.
It's Fyter Fest next week, by the way.
Of course, Fight Fest. It's a 4-hour Dynamite next week. Then that'd be a reason for blood and guts, wouldn't it? Fight Fest going to be 4 hours. Have I imagined that?
Yeah.
Anyway, but the fantasy booking I had then that made the good version of that noise was it's blood and guts, where after last year, Hangman agrees to help Swerve in a cage in blood and guts against the Elite Death Riders combo. And at the time, that was the idea of Hanger and Swerve versus the Bucks. Now, it's because John Mox is beating up the baby faces and they're one shot. And Hanger's like, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And like, Swerve's like leading the charge for the baby faces and Hanger's like, all right, I'll help you. And that gets you to your Hangman Moxley interaction in blood and guts ahead of All In. Like, you could still get that catharsis. The last bit of catharsis Page needs is him just a nod. It doesn't even need to be a handshake or a hug, but a nod towards Swerve that we've done each other a solid. That was the one thing I really needed off my plate, and now I can go to Moxley and win the belt or lose, but you know.
That's a nice segue, actually, because we are set to hear from Hangman Page as the new number one contender, and you've got this window. Like I say, I should have said, where are my manners? It is the go-home show for Fyter Fest, as well as Fallout from Double or Nothing tonight. But we've got, 5-6 weeks till All In. So yeah, it's going to be intriguing. We know what it is, what the match is going to be. And aside from, as Sidge mentioned, returning to a crime spree.
Crime spree?
Yeah, that too.
What are they?
It's going to be intriguing to see what they do with Mox and Hangman.
What is scree? Is it like isn't it sort of not coal or something like that?
Every time I hear
I think of scree,
any word with Cree in it, I just remind him of the guy from uni who's like, oh God, I'm so glad that no one calls me Cree anymore.
Oh no.
That's nice, isn't that, Cree?
Is that right, Cree?
A mass of small loose stones that form or cover a slope on a mountain.
Those little stones, so stolen stones. That'd be crime scree, wouldn't it?
Yeah. That could happen.
So unless maybe Darby Allin's taken some coming down from Everest. I've got
that yet. He hasn't come down.
I've got some crime scree. Mox is like, actually, I like you, Darby.
Join the Death Riders.
Initiation. Drink this bleach.
But yeah, Hangman's got to presumably sell the effort that he's gone through. And is it just about, as you two both alluded to, yay, he's, they're finally the main character in AEW is going to regain this, this thing that's been held hostage by the Death Riders. But he's also not sure if he can do it either.
I reckon if he beats Wheeler Yuta, he's got half a chance.
Sequel stuff, this for me. Hangman in these post-match corridor promos is unbelievable. I don't want him in front of the live audience. Remember last year where he wins and then he's like, he broke into my home. I'm not over nothing. Like the times he would do these like crazed post-match promos, do the flip reverse of that, where it's like there's a piece within him for the first time in a long time. He's walking down the corridor and it looks similar to those really dark nights of the soul he's had, but instead he's actually able to take a breath and look up and be like, I might be getting out of this tunnel.
They've advertised we hear from Hangman Page. They've done this before. Could be a post thing. Could be a post thing, yeah.
Obviously, he wasn't the only winner of the Owen Hart tournament. We also had Mercedes
Money.
And she is scheduled to meet Timeless Tony Storm.
I can't wait for
It's going to be fantastic.
Oh my God.
Star power out the ass. It's going to feel box office. This is the advantage AEW has over this kind of arms race for who's actually great at women's wrestling. It's been one of the really better stories of 2025. But the idea of them two interacting will just, the visual of them two nose to nose is such an optics win in this ongoing who's got the best or who's got the most women's wrestling, before they even open their mouths. Remember when, and it's probably lost to time because the match stunk out.
Because
the match
felt the same.
Reeked when Britt Baker and Mercedes Money interacted in the build. It was like, this is massive. Yep. This is absolutely massive. They completely the bed.
Dirk Arena with a year.
Jesus Christ. But I remember it felt...
What's my most vivid memories from that amazing weekend? Just turn around to Sidge. Oh, Josh, sorry, it's bloody cute for chicken tendies or whatever. How's it going? I don't know what they're doing, Adam.
I don't know, Jeff. I couldn't even.
It was Chris.
I don't know what they're trying to do. I'm too far away. They're not animating. They're not expressing. They're not really projecting. This is a terrible stadium match. A terrible stadium match. Anyway, this will not be a terrible stadium match. This should be a sensational, massive feeling match. Every near fall is going to be amazing. I don't know how you build this. Don't know what to say to each other. They basically have to say variations of, I'm a bigger star and a better wrestling than you, for now. Then you build up the heat with various angles and whatnot. But for now, I just want to... Honestly, they could even, at this point, totally flex the idea of how big they feel as stars and just maybe do the Triple H Taker thing.
Yeah, I want to bask in the glory of this a bit.
Just look at it. Do various bits of body language to just... get that reaction all the more hot.
Tony Storm does it like that, and then Mercedes does it like that, and then they both just look at the sign.
Yeah, and then they just go away. But build that. Silent confrontation of like, we radiate star power to such a vast extent over all of women's wrestling that we don't have to say a word to each other yet. That's kind of how I would do it now. I've thought about it.
If they were both in the ring together, and they could do that awesome, like Mercedes in like the most colourful attire she can come out with, and then they do that amazing half and half trick where Tony's back in black and white, but it's in the ring now, and you've got like cuts. They frame it around that all-in poster in the corner with the half and half down the middle, and both of them just couldn't look like the better versions of themselves. Like, because it's I want to look at this.
Yeah,
this is fundamental. This is in my wrestling DNA. Because this is like just Hogan and Warrior bumping into each other at Rumble. Yeah. They are the biggest and the best.
Yeah.
And they're fighting each other. Like, this is it. Like,
when they do eventually get to talking, though, we've got to remember, if we don't want to play a game or anything about, like, guessing Toni Storm's promo, she's often very vulgar.
Oh.
She's often very vulgar. And they could talk about their different journeys to the top and all the rest of it. And the idea, and it's fake because, you know, Mercedes did indies and all the rest of it and then went NXT. But, like, I think it would be very fair and accurate to say that Toni Storm had a longer, stranger, and she could argue more rewarding trip. She wants it more, all this sort of thing. She could say, I don't know, something like, you know, Mercedes, you're an industry plant, because that's like a movie term as well as a wrestling one. You're an industry plant who's had loads of money. Well, darling, I worked to get to the top, and I've had loads of loads. You know, she's just vulgar. I was trying to just get some entertainment value in the podcast.
Just rude stuff, doesn't she?
Yeah, she likes
blue.
rude stuff. She's very blue.
She's not black and white, she's blue.
Yeah.
That's Toni Storm.
Loads of money. I've got loads of loads. Is that anything?
Got cash coming out of my cash.
Yeah. She said box before, which is a great word. I just said to Deanna Pratt, I'm going to sock you right in that box if you unbox. It's great. I'm sorry, it's funny. Is there any other synonyms that Wilbourn for you?
Like money is obviously a really easy thing to jump off of, and formerly being Sasha Banks. I don't know if there's obviously the money maker is something like that. Like your money maker's this, and my money maker.
It's very vulgar, but
She's very vulgar.
You got cream pied in WWE. Let's not forget that as well.
Let's not. They could bring that up.
Mm-hmm.
They give you every championship and opportunity. They give me a cream pie.
One of your friends cream pied me.
Yeah.
There's loads they can do here, and I look forward to the coming weeks.
We will get back to.
What are you laughing at?
We'll get back to women's wrestling because right now, Sidge, there is just one match advertised for tonight, and it's not a women's match.
By the way, this happens every single time.
Yeah.
Tony Khan deserves praise when he doesn't telegraph stuff. If you put like, oh, well, Ricochet's in action, it's because he's beating Mark Briscoe and they're trying to heat him up for All In. Don't know what he does, by the way. That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's very typical of a Fallout show, but less so for a go-home.
Oh, by the way, I've got an agenda that's just popped into my head that I thought about this morning. I know I don't want him losing too much, right? But for sheer match quality, who cares about the winner alone? To reheat Darby Allin, give him that moment at All In, climbed Everest, Darby versus Kyle Fletcher. Like, Kyle Fletcher would absolutely annihilate him, and it would look disgusting. Also brilliant.
But the only match advertised for
Why are
tonight...
you bored of that? Look at your face. Look at your bracket.
I was thinking of Darby Allin and Bobby Lashley.
I mean, that would be incredible.
I was thinking of men that could replicate mountains
Yes.
for his first run back.
Yeah.
And Bobby Lashley was the first one that came into my head. But that would be nice too. I wasn't like just completely thinking past that match. I was just thinking of one I wanted instead.
Cal Fletcher versus Darby's my new agenda.
Who are other people that are mountains?
Everyone's a mountain compared to Darby. That's the brilliance of the character.
That's the joy of it. Lance Archer.
Cal Fletcher.
I mean, probably both if you're doing the Fletcher thing, because there's other Callis family members that you'll need to
glue various wrestlers on top of each other.
Yes, keep talking.
And then Darby Allin climbs the mountain at All In.
And they all have to wear one
They
long
could
coat.
book the Mountain from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, he's
like a world's strongest man, isn't he?
Yep.
If you like.
You've conquered Ever Rest, now conquer Ever Rise. Daddy Magic and Cool Hand Ange.
Anything?
Is that anything?
Who knows?
But tonight, the only match advertised is
Sign Braun Strowman.
Brody. Yes, Brody King.
That'd be pretty funny, actually. Braun Strowman and Darby Allin.
Get some knee replacements, and then we're
Yeah.
talking.
Satnam Singh. We had that before. He did. He bounced off.
Yeah.
Let's go again.
He looked like, you know, when a bird, like stupid bird, fly into windows because they don't know nothing. He looked like one of them.
Saddam's not a window, Darby. It's a person. Stupid idiot.
He's bigger than you, so you're going to bounce off him.
But the only match advertised for tonight is Josh Alexander versus Brody King.
I actually quite like spotting birds when I'm out and about. I feel bad for birds. To quote the great Taz, I've got no heat with exotic birds.
I love looking at birds when I'm out.
Basic birds piss me off my whole life. You like looking at birds?
Yeah, can't get enough of it, especially in the summer. But yes, it's Josh Alexander versus Brody King.
You like birds that sort of like look alike, that come in pairs?
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you...
Yeah.
Is that why you live near a park?
Sometimes it's also they're easily, scared. So sometimes I wear sunglasses so they can't see me looking. Right, International Championship Tournament. Fight Fest next week.
There's literally a hobby called bird watching. It's probably one of the most popular hobbies in the world.
Yeah.
The idea
I'll take my binoculars with me, yeah, because sometimes they're far away. Kenny Omega is defending the International Championship against the winner of 3 matches.
I'm not much of a bird watching guy, but I do like visiting the Washington Wetlands Centre every now and then.
Oh, the
There's
wildfowls.
There's these little sheds, isn't there, where you go.
I like the flamingos, yeah.
Sit in the old shed ski and look at a patch of water where there's like some birds that are flying around and eating and stuff. That's all right. There's a moment of peace, and then you remember why you're there is because you've taken your kids on a nice family.
And you're trying to tie them out.
And the peace has been disrupted. It's like scaring the one thing away that we've come to see. Shut the fuck up for once.
Kenny Omega defending the international title next week at Fyter Fest between the winner of tonight's match, Brody King versus Josh Alexander, and then a couple of matches on Collision, that being Claudio Castagnoli and Commander, and Mascara Dorada and Hechicero. But yeah, who do you think wins out of Brody and Josh?
I'm not previewing Collision, so I don't do all 3 right now because I'm hardcore. I need my lunch. This is getting delirious now. Very silly.
Tommy Dream Pie.
Yeah. So what's tonight? Brody King, Josh Alexander.
Yes.
They had a match.
Josh won a match?
I don't think so.
Good question. Don't think so.
Good question. Don't think so. I suspect they've rematched this because they did this deep into a Collision tape, and then everyone was like, it's good, lads. Well done. You're hitting each other hard. But it's basically an entire audience full of Hamflets.
Yeah, well done.
And it was really well worked. And I think they've decided to do this specific match. It's just my opinion. Because it's like, well, it didn't get enough love from that audience for how hard they went. So do a redo on the more important show about which people are more enthusiastic. I think you have to consider the other matches for the heel-face dynamics and the moving parts and how good the match would be. Sadly, like Claudio's beating Commander, put a mortgage on that. And I think it exists so, like, Claudio's one of the best bases of all time, and it'll be a great, 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 great match. But it exists to give Claudio an unbelievable in-ring showing where he looks amazing ahead of inevitably going in there. I kind of would have liked Commander in there, truly. Just because I love it when Kenny Omega V-triggers aerial dives out of the sky. Like, rope run, shooting star press, tough titties, bitch. He's got a V-trigger from the GOAT. I'd love to see that, but I don't think I'm going to see it. On Brody King versus Josh Alexander, I don't necessarily think the heel-face morality play alignments matter really in a match that's going to be an action-packed 4-way main event. Who cares? So I don't
bringing back out Ishii and Tanahashi as part of the afters from the 6-man at Double or Nothing.
Oh yeah,
like keeping something warm for Forbidden Dow.
Yeah, maybe
Don Callis family.
Yeah, potentially. So it's a pick 'em. I don't care who wins this match. That's a bit of a problem, but I don't really care.
What's this tournament again? How does it work?
It's so basically there are 3 matches across Dynamite and Collision,
Yeah.
the winners of which all advance to face Kenny Omega for the International Championship in a 4-way next week at Fyter
There's
Fest.
2 semis in there's a 4-way. That makes sense.
It's a 4-way. Who do I want to see Kenny Omega interact with? I've seen he's so great at working big men. I've seen a glimpse of him working Brody King, Revolution 2023. I'd quite like to see that again. I don't think I've seen him work Josh Alexander at all. And I think if you want Josh Alexander to look good, and you kind of need to get on that at this point if you want to get anything out of your investment. I'm going to tie down for multiple years and such, but you don't want to stigmatize him too much as a loser. You should be winning. And it's at this point, you've missed the boat on Brody King. And he's always over, so I don't think it matters. I think Josh Alexander will get the win here. And I want to see Kenny work him because Kenny just makes everyone look amazing. So I think Josh wins this. Claudio beats Commander, sadly, even though I want to see the V-trigger. And it's a pick 'em for that other match on Collision. Dorado versus Hechicero. I think for the dynamic of the match, I'd like a smaller, agile, aerial guy to be zipping about. But then Hechicero rules.
He's all weird and fun, isn't he?
Yeah, he's class
Hechicero out there. Him and Kenny Omega in a match.
I want to. What the hell does that look like?
Yeah,
I think it might be Dorado.
You going the same?
No, I want Hechicero in. I'm thinking which is what I want to look at. I'd actually pick Hechicero, Brody King, and Commander, and they're probably all going to lose.
Yeah.
I'm going to get the opposite match. It'll be fine. It's like Kenny Omega defend the title in a TV 4-way that he's definitely going to win. Like, it's just to do stuff, isn't it? Like, it's a 4-hour show. Like,
there's more wrestlers like Dorado than Hechicero in CMLL. Maybe they want to give you some sequences between Dorado and Omega and say this is the kind of action you'll get when we hit Arena Mexico.
When's that?
June 16th, I think. I cannot wait. I think it's going to be Osprey, Dorado, and Omega Mystico would be the big matches there.
That's all before All In as well, so, yeah.
Big summer.
But there's no women's match advertised, but very quickly.
I love how they're doing Worlds Collide first. Such
Oh, it's going to stink, oh.
Oh, it's going to be all right. It's just their arseholes for doing it first.
It's going to be real bad.
Where is it?
Same place as Money in the Bank, LA,
Yeah.
I think. It's like...
There'll be a lucha-friendly market there.
Yeah, like...
That's where the first Worlds Collide was, and that you fell.
But, like, nobody cares. And none of the matches are going to be as exciting as, like, the CMLL versions of those matches. And it's going to be, like... I know it's going to be this, like, AEW fans that are like, wait a minute, I think WWE are counter-programming. Like, A, get with the program, but B, like, toughen up and back your show, because what's going to happen is the same as what happened this weekend.
This is one of your new agendas, isn't it?
A little bit. Like, what's going to happen is the same as what happened this weekend, which is when a company like AEW is clearly firing, and Double or Nothing was excellent, and they're very different products at this point, but they're looking at, like... Thought I was going to watch a weekend of wrestling, but I only got one show and it was Double or Nothing based on what was going on Blue Saturday and whatever. You know, they all talk like shit. Like
he does it. It's just on the other side.
Yeah, but that's side I agree with. Like, so it's different. The
asshole.
The Worlds Collide is not going to compare to Dynamite in Arena Mexico. Not
of course, it's not.
No, but as a result, like AEW fans should like luxuriate.
Yeah,
like these things coming together in the way they are should be like, Christ, did you see that absolute hot garbage on June the 7th?
It's not going to be hot garbage.
It is going to.
It's going to be mediocre to good.
Yeah,
garbage. Come on, I'll stand up for WWE.
Yeah, I'm just low on all of this, but like, yeah, you're right. But it's not going to touch it. It's not for atmosphere, for quality of matches.
Bro.
You know.
I know.
You know. And I just think,
did you ever see the BCC versus Team CMLL match from Arena Mexico last year? Oh my God, it made us like the Blackpool Combat Club.
Like,
made me like the Blackpool Combat Club. That for 2 hours.
And the
Dreamland.
The NXT thing, I like NXT. So I'm watching and I'm like, yeah, guys, you're able to enjoy both shows. But I was able to enjoy Battleground on its own terms and enjoy Double or Nothing. Yeah. But there will absolutely, this keeps happening, this counter-programming thing, for people that just simply like AEW and don't like WWE, they should start seeing this weekend as a win rather than a loss.
Of course.
Because they're going to be like, the two were put back to back and the one I love has put the other one to shame.
Yeah, generally I've got an idea. Not because I think when Worlds Collide will be flawed, probably in front of like an audience that doesn't care. But I think it'll be quite good. Not hot garbage.
It's to stand and deliver to WrestleMania Night 1.
But I'm saying more broadly. Shouldn't WWE counter-program AEW simply by being good? Wouldn't that be an idea?
Both, yeah. That's
instead of doing like date for date, city for city, weekend for weekend, just do a good product instead of the really this really complacent, dry, synthetic one that they're doing right now.
They should do both. They should like book a better show and they should put the foot on the throat. Like that's what should be going on. Like do the counter programming every single time. It's really funny, right? But be a better show as well. That was what I call 2022 to 2024 brackets general. Like I want them to strangle them, but I want them to strangle them with quality instead of this absolute garbage that they're putting out in opposition.
Just not embarrass themselves.
Yeah.
And be toxic.
I totally agree. Stop embarrassing yourself. Counter program with good shows.
Don't counter program at all.
No, counter program every time. It's really funny. Like I love that. Like every time there's a new.
You miss the monopoly, you don't you?
No. No, it's sad to watch the Fed falling off. Like I'm feeling sad that like some of those days are coming to an end. Like it's okay because I like AEW when it got hot and it's getting hot again and I'm into it, so it's fine. But I'd rather WWE was always on top of the best. Like I'd always rather they were on top.
If you was watching Star Wars, it'd be cheering Darth Vader.
Oh God! Speaking of which, right?
I've got to go to the dentist in literally 2 minutes, so you can
talk about this afterwards.
We're going to do ladies' night.
Black Mirror had another.
Oh, I've been here a while.
Bloody Star
for a
Trek
preview.
Episode, it was crap. Watched an hour and a half. It was.
Anyway, we've got a game to play with.
Yeah.
Oh God! Yeah. Sorry.
Name of the game. Let's go.
The aim of the game is to identify to the hour, minute, and second. The first time you hear the first note for the first entrance scene for the first woman to come out and compete for is inevitably, almost invariably, in fact, the only women's match on Dynamite. And the idea is if we can just nail it to the hour, minute, and second, we'll really like underscore, underline, put in bold the idea that there's a pattern here. And it's always kind of in that 1 hour 20, 1 hour 25 minute range, this one women's match on Dynamite. And I think the market psychology is they're thinking that all the fans will think, oh, bloody hell, women, ugh. I have to put them on for the bloody wokes. But if we just put them before the main event, they'll have the sunk cost fallacy of being here. We might as well watch the show. No one thinks it like that anymore. Toni Storm is the biggest star in the company, irrespective of gender. Chris Jericho, gone for now. Good. Oh, he could come back. Cope, gone for now. Oh, he's going to come back. Would rather see Willow Nightingale, Chris Statlander, Jamie Hayter, Toni Storm, like Sky Blue, I thought looked great when she came back. Mina Shirakawa is re-entered the world. I'd rather see all of these than Jericho, Cope, Paragon. Get away. But nonetheless, they proceed. And it's like, I just think it's a really cynical view of the audience that is outdated and needs to be changed, and we just want to really put the final pin in that pattern to just nail them and just get it, okay? And that's the aim of the game. And but Sidgwick, before we get to the aim of the game, which precedes, of course, the name of the game, can you jingleize that thought process for me? Sure can. He's running under pressure with his dentist appointment.
Just realised.
Maybe do it at the weekend or something, or after work.
Not you. You both know it's not my call.
So don't worry, guys. When the women come out to play, the main event ain't too far away. And just one more note on all of this, incidentally, is that for these lyrics to make sense, which it might have been penned 3 weeks ago, and then there were staff absences, which mean I get to sing this song, a couple of things. Number one, I'm actually turning face on the Death Riders, but they are part of the lyrics, so just bear with me on this.
Brilliant.
Number two, if one lyric comes out of nowheres, just remember an old Pete Dunne gimmick. Okay?
Right.
Okay, because you're gonna think, what the hell are you talking about? They come out of nowheres, Sidgy.
Go. Oh, Pete Dunne. Got it.
Okay.
So, an old Pete Dunne alias from recent times. Okay. Here we go. I actually quite like the Death Riders now, but this was written a few weeks ago. Okay. I wanted to be with that man Tone and talk about the women. 'Cause traditions you can trace, you like the man as the ace. I have paid attention. You keep your system via the system of touch and Marx's persuasion. I've lost my admiration, he's just American butch. Oh, you're wasting my time. You're just wasting time. Something happened and I'm bored of the heels. I never find out until I'm watching the heels. Something happens and I'm bored of the heels. Oh, don't break my heart, don't take my heart, don't throw it away.
Brilliant. I like it when you mind Tia Sophia's. It never misses. Never misses.
Sowing the seeds of brov when we get to Will Osprey.
You didn't need to add that Pete Dunne. No, it was... We
got it. Yeah.
Okay. It's just for the listeners, just in case, because people don't watch the Fed, I know. They're the lowest ratings ever.
Really?
On Netflix, yeah.
Oh, really?
It's all dying, man, in front of you. God. Anyway, do your outro, pal.
We need to get the times from us.
Oh, we need to play the game.
We haven't actually played the game yet.
Do your outro.
Play the game.
That's what you always said.
3 sample steps.
I think you won. I think it's been a while since we played this, but I think you won last time.
Okay.
Hamflett on 3 for the year, Sidge on 2, and myself on 5.
Right, I'm going to price is right. I'm going to price is right, you stinking ass, and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 6.
Ooh. We don't know what
landlock.
That's right.
Do you think it's going to be some sort of like Camille squash or something on here?
Yeah, nothing City Jones out of nowhere, mid-afternoon announcement.
Not Camille. What am I talking about?
Somebody.
Are you doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 6?
Yeah, why not?
Good luck, David Beach.
Get him.
Imagine we get it.
Get him.
Yeah, that was it.
Obviously going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I'm going to go 1, 14, 32.
Wow.
Who do you think is going to be in the match?
Don't know. Who needs... So it's not going to be Mercedes and Tony because they're going face to face. Willow should sell... Someone should sell Anarchy in the arena. Statlander
Bane,
versus... I think she's more collision zone these days. Look, Statlander and Willow look like they could do something prominent at All In. Is the second women's match on that show. So to build Statlander is like, oh no, she's still a star. She's the one on Dynamite this week. Statlander versus...
Mina. She's only just become All Elite.
Weird to do that.
So they're like doing the...
They want to get her another... She wants to get back in the title hunt, having lost and just start again and loses Statlander.
It'd be weird to do that unannounced, though. So obviously Statlander's actually going to face Sidge. Tell me when to stop.
Stab.
Picking up between 1 and 15.
Between 4.
Britt Baker's coming back.
No, she isn't. Twist. Stop.
Yeah. 1 to 15.
9.
Right, Marine Shafir's going to be selling injuries.
Yep. So doesn't count. I've got 2 more goals.
Yeah.
Then it's delayed. Stop.
1 to 15.
11.
Ty Valkyrie.
No. Seems like a nice person, but no. So I'm going to stick on the last one.
Oh.
Stop.
Yeah.
5.
Deonna Purrazzo.
Flattered to deceive in AEW this far for me, but...
I haven't seen her in a while.
Hamflett.
She had some good matches with Thunder Rosa actually in their mini program.
Oh, Rosa getting back in the hunt would be all right. She was starting to put a bit of form together.
Yeah.
Stop.
1 to 15.
2.
Queen Aminata.
Oh!
Stick. Queen Aminata, yeah.
Great.
Queen Aminata and Chris Statlander. Yeah, that'll do.
Right, let us know your thoughts ahead of AEW Dynamite, either in the comments or on X at WhatCulture WWE. Well, actually, you can follow all 3 of us. You can follow Michael Hamflett at...
Michael Hamflett.
Follow Michael Sidgwick at...
M. Sidgwick.
Follow me at Adam Wilbourn. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE, and make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling wherever you get your podcast from for daily wrestling podcasts. We'll be back later on today to review NXT and back tomorrow to review AEW Dynamite without Michael Sidgwick, unfortunately.
I'm off. Half term. I'll give you my thoughts on Twitter at M. Sidgwick.
And next week's preview. We'll talk about it there. Or maybe on the Collision review if you can't be asked to talk about that. Perhaps.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. Subscribe. I've already done all that. Bye.